Welcome to the Brain's Body, Dr. Slaton Live, the ultimate experience. I'm a human system scientist, and the way that should make sense to you tuning in is that we're talking about your brain, body, and senses. How often do you hear people talk about your brain, your body, and your senses in relation to the crisis of self? Because any one of those you can't do without. Have you ever tried to live without your brain, your body, or your senses? Then how do you communicate? How do you communicate? Because those are all social organs. So every time you tune in, I'm talking about environmental contact and neural interaction and sensory organization. Because unless you were born a certain way, these are the things that you have to organize from the breath of life forward to make sense of the experience of a home, a school, a neighborhood, a workplace, because those are the capitalistic principles that are utilized to organize society. And it's very competitive. So who wants you to understand your brain, body, and sense systems more than you? So I always talk about self-learning in that regard, because what I'm trying to talk to you about is, like I did, I fell behind quick because I couldn't understand school. So I fell behind quick. But how did I catch up? By understanding my inner voice was constantly leading me, but I had character inside that was external that led me, because I could observe what I was doing. And I had an inner voice that was moving me to do things, but understanding the consequences of what I did and did not do in any transaction. And I'm talking about your spirit, your brain talk. The way the brain sends that forward feed and tells you, wait a minute, we can't let that happen anymore. And that state of mind is like, okay, you're more predictable. You have to be less predictable. We're talking about dialogue. We're talking about how the brain takes the lead of the body, and the inner voice is neutralized, because brain talk is how you function. It's the things that you really know how to do, and that's change. So here's your state of mind. And you're moving through your state of mind because it's predictable. That's how you want it. Trained thinking. So when you refer to your state of mind, in my mind, you're talking about I've trained myself, or I've been trained to see my home, school, neighborhood, workplace relationships this way. But your brain talk takes you to the next level. All I'm saying is the structure. So you have to understand that it's okay for programs to exist, but you're a processor. A human being is a processor of information. And when you work through your sense to receive path through a sense of feel, that takes you into the next level. It's the game changer. Why? Because everything you're doing, the brain's creating new ways to do it, but you're structured. It's not like you're trying something in the unknown. You have to be aware of your states of mind. And that's what we talk about. We talk about how do we move through the crisis of self to catch up so that we can compete more effectively and have less and less breakdowns where we're not performing at the level we should be performing, because we're caught up in social drift. We're caught up in the social issues. When I said social drift, so the external stuff, the environmental stuff, the stuff that's I used to call them earlier on, psychological traps to slow you down, knock you off track, so that you couldn't get to the goal line and be intact. Because that's the goal. You want to finish as approximate to who and what you're supposed to be as a technology as possible. And you want less and less breakdowns in your performance, because no one's going to come behind you and, yo, you did a good job, man. That was great. You're off the hook. No, it don't work like that, because it's all competitive and everybody's trying to compete. You got ego, sense of self, ego that are environmental. They go by what they see. And when they see you accelerate your game, it's offensive. Why? Because they got to do it too. And if they can't, who they mad at? Those are social issues. So when you go inside a home and you dealing with a blended family, so you got this stepdad or stepman or stepwoman, and you're doing things and they respond to you differently because they think that you're competing for what? The attention. But see, this is what I'm talking about, the issues. And the way you move through those issues is through a sense of feel for self. I said self first. Then in relation to other people, because you have to stabilize you first. You're talking about your ego. You want to organize that super ego, that third level. See? You want to get there because you're processing the information carefully through signs of care. That's why I talked about a sense of feel, because if you use your sense of feel, your care is on. So when you move through the interaction, you feel it and you're allowing the brain to embrace you through a sense of feel for other people in the environment. Now you're competing without even, your brain's already doing it. And all you got to do is learn what's going on in your states of mind, your programmed thinking, because you don't want it to impact your flow, the brain action. That's supposed to change the way you perform at the next level. Creativity, understanding what's inside your mind so that your brain can manifest at higher levels of thought with reflection. I just said it. So when you pick up one of my literature pieces, this is what I'm talking about. Going to the next level of thinking things through reflection. Because you see, that's an emergence, because when you reflect, you're synthesizing the information flow. Meaning you're pulling from the sense path, you're pulling from forward feed, the brain, and all this synthesis is because the brain's going to respond to your sense of feel for self, you and the lead of your body. At the same time, you're reading, when you're in it, you may be talking, but you're constantly reading self, other people, because you want that data. You want that data because you are making adjustments, but hold it, not when you're the crazy self. You're not making no adjustments, because you're in there trying to fight to stay the same. Hey, ain't nobody changing me. I am who I am. I'm what I am. I'm not changing. You can't change my opinion because I don't want nobody to tell me what to do. It's not about that. It's about moving through where you are to where you need to be to continuously compete in a capitalistic economy where you got to evolve in a new levels of understanding. What I'm talking about, you got to be grounded though. So as you're evolving, you're not evolving erroneously. You're evolving because you're structured and you understand the system that you're dealing with. So when you compete, you're competing through a sense of feel for self in relation to other people, and you're approaching the environment to record the best places for you to perform, that you can manage and control your energy flow. Sense contact indeed plays a powerful role in actuating moods that manifest as states of the body. When you experience sense contact, whether it's from social interactions or environmental influences, it activates a flow of neurointeraction that establishes process loops between the brain and the body. This continuous flow of forward and backward feed serves as a responsive mechanism, ensuring the brain is in the lead of the body, particularly when you choose to reflect on the experience. So, what does that feel like? One emotion is the initial trigger, both externally and internally. It is raw and immediate, such as a rush of energy or a surge of feelings, like fear, excitement, or sadness. 2, thought naturally follows as the brain starts processing what has happened. This is the brain's response mechanism, and you can feel the transition from pure emotion to cognitive awareness. Thought emerges as a sign of brain activity, urging you to reflect and understand. 3, reflection is the final stage, where the brain and body assess and make sense of the experience. It feels like connecting the dots, where emotion and thought meet, and you can now understand how your body and brain perform during the experience. As you traverse this sequence, you are continuously exposed to new information, contact that must be received and processed. Each sense contact, whether positive or negative, can trigger changes in mood, shifting the states of your body and mind. But how you choose to handle this contact is key. I'll be back shortly.